Got it, you'd like me to prepare a speech titled, "He's Not in Love, He's Using You? The 7 Warning Signs" by HENG. But before I write the full speech, I should first give you 5 keynote points in the style of Brené Brown, without mentioning her name. Then, I'll expand it into a complete speech. When we talk about love, we often paint it with the colors of passion, excitement, and deep emotional connection. But the foundation of real love is not just about butterflies in the stomach or fleeting moments of affection. It is rooted in respect, in a mutual honoring of each other's humanity, individuality, and dignity. Without respect, what looks like love can actually be manipulation, and what feels like devotion can quietly turn into control. Respect is the soil where love grows, and when that soil is missing, what we experience may be something else entirely. One of the clearest distinctions between someone who truly loves you and someone who is using you is the presence or absence of respect. Respect is not just politeness, it's not just saying, "Please," and "Thank you." Respect is a deep acknowledgement of your worth, your voice, your boundaries, your choices, and your dreams. Love cannot exist without respect, because respect is what protects love from turning into control. If a man truly loves you, he will never try to shrink you into something smaller to fit his convenience. He will not dismiss your feelings, override your decisions, or pressure you into things you are uncomfortable with. Instead, he will listen. He will seek to understand. He will make space for your no as much as he celebrates your yes. On the other hand, when a man is not in love but using you, respect is the first casualty. He may charm you with attention, but slowly, you begin to feel your boundaries eroding. You notice that when you say you're tired, he pushes you to show up anyway. When you express your needs, he labels them as too much or inconvenient. When you set limits, he finds ways around them, and in the process, you begin to question yourself. That questioning is a sign not of your weakness, but of the subtle erosion of respect that is taking place. Control often dresses itself in the disguise of care. He may say, "I just want what's best for you." But somehow what's best for you always ends up serving him. He may say, "I love you so much. I don't want you to go there or wear that or talk to them." But that's not love, that's possession. Love celebrates freedom, it doesn't cage it. Love trusts, it doesn't surveil. Love honors individuality, it doesn't erase it. And when someone is using you, you begin to notice that the relationship feels less like a partnership and more like a power struggle. You give in more often than not because you agree, but because it feels easier than dealing with the consequences of standing firm. Slowly, your silence becomes the price you pay for peace, and that is not the currency of love. Another way respect shows up is in how your dreams and ambitions are treated. A man who loves you will want to see you shine. Even if your light outshines his in certain areas, he will encourage you to pursue the things that set your soul on fire. He will clap for you when you win, and he will hold you when you stumble. But when a man is using you, your dreams become inconvenient. Your success threatens him. Your goals are minimized, mocked, or ignored because they distract from his agenda. You find yourself putting aside your passions to keep the relationship intact. And over time, you may even forget who you were before. This is how control takes root, not with one grand gesture, but with many small moments of disrespect that strip away pieces of your identity until you begin to feel like a stranger to yourself. Respect is also reflected in how conflict is handled. Every relationship has disagreements, but love navigates conflict with care, with an intention to heal, not to wound. Someone who respects you will argue with the goal of understanding, not winning. They will disagree without degrading you, correct without humiliating you, and listen even when emotions are high. But if you find that every conflict leaves you feeling smaller, unheard, or blamed for everything, then respect is not present. And without respect, love cannot survive. Sometimes the absence of respect is subtle. It shows up in interruptions when you speak, in dismissive eye rolls when you share your feelings, in decisions made without considering your input. Other times, it is more obvious, like ignoring your boundaries, controlling your time, or even violating your trust. The danger is that when you care deeply for someone, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You tell yourself, maybe he's just stressed, or maybe I'm overreacting. But the truth is, patterns tell the story. And if the pattern is that your voice, your needs, and your boundaries are consistently dismissed, then you are not being loved. You are being used. Love without respect is not love. It is dependency, manipulation, or convenience dressed in the language of romance. Respect requires equality. It recognizes that both people bring value to the relationship. Without that, the balance tilts, and one person carries the weight while the other reaps the benefit. You deserve a love that meets you at eye level, not one that makes you look down in shame or look up in desperation. The challenge is that many people mistake intensity for love. Just because someone is passionate about keeping you close doesn't mean they respect you. Just because someone is possessive doesn't mean they care. Just because someone showers you with attention doesn't mean they value you. The real measure is how they respond when you assert your boundaries, when you say no, when you ask for space, when you demand fairness. If those moments are met with patience, kindness, and understanding, then respect is present. If they are met with anger, manipulation, guilt, tripping, or withdrawal of affection, then you are not in love, you are in a trap. At the heart of this warning is a simple truth. You are worthy of respect in every form of relationship. You do not have to earn it by bending, shrinking, or sacrificing yourself. You deserve it simply because you are human, because you have value, and because no real love can exist without it. If you ever find yourself in a relationship where respect is missing, I urge you to pause and see it for what it is. It may look like love. It may feel like love in fleeting moments, but if it is built on control and not respect, it will not sustain you. Instead, it will drain you, weaken you, and leave you questioning your own worth. And you were never meant to live that way. Love is rooted in respect, not control. Respect is the anchor that keeps love steady through storms. Respect is the guardrail that keeps love from veering into possession. Respect is the foundation upon which joy, trust, and intimacy can grow. Without it, no matter how sweet the words or how intense the feelings, what you are experiencing is not love, it is use. And you deserve more than that. You deserve love that honors you, celebrates you, and respects you in every way. Consistency is the truest language of love. Words can be sweet, promises can be grand, and gestures can be dazzling. But none of these mean anything if they are not backed by consistent actions over time. When a person truly loves you, their care is not an occasional performance, but an ongoing practice. Love is not about how someone treats you when it's convenient, when they want something from you, or when it benefits them. It's about how they show up for you day after day, even in the quiet, ordinary, unglamorous moments. This is why consistency speaks louder than words, because words can lie but patterns cannot. A man who is using you may be skilled at saying all the right things. He may know how to shower you with affection when he senses you pulling away. He may have mastered the timing of apologies, the art of flattery, and the charm of promises. But if his words don't match his actions, then what he's offering is not love, it's manipulation. Real love doesn't rely on rehearsed lines. It shows itself through steady presence, reliability, and follow through. When someone truly loves you, you don't have to wonder where you stand with them. Their actions make it clear. They don't disappear for days without explanation, only to return with excuses and sweet talk. They don't cancel on you repeatedly, leaving you feeling like an afterthought. They don't make promises in the heat of the moment that evaporate when the emotions fade. Instead, they build trust brick by brick, not by being perfect, but by being dependable. You know that if they say they'll be there, they'll show up. You know that when they apologize, they follow through with changed behavior. You know that their affection isn't just present when they want something, but steady even when life is hard. The danger of inconsistency is that it keeps you trapped in a cycle of hope and disappointment. One moment he's attentive, affectionate, and everything you dreamed of. The next, he's distant, unavailable, or indifferent. This back and forth creates confusion, and confusion is a powerful tool for someone who is using you, because in that confusion, you cling to the good moments, telling yourself, see, he does care, while ignoring the larger pattern of neglect or disrespect. This is why it is so important to step back and look at the whole picture. A single act of kindness doesn't prove love if it is surrounded by weeks of indifference. A passionate apology doesn't mean change if the same hurtful behavior keeps happening. Love is not proven in the intensity of one moment, but in the consistency of many. Consider how he invests his time. Time is one of the most valuable things a person can give, because it cannot be faked or recovered. If a man truly loves you, he will make time for you. Not when it's convenient, not just when he's lonely, but as a priority woven into his life. He won't make you feel like you're competing with his distractions or his excuses. He will not disappear without explanation, and then reappear expecting you to welcome him without question. Consistency is also about emotional presence. It's not enough for someone to physically show up if emotionally they are absent. When someone loves you, they remain engaged, attentive, and connected to your feelings. They don't suddenly withdraw when things get difficult. They don't turn cold after being warm just the day before. Inconsistency in emotional availability is often a sign of self-interest, because they give affection when they want something and withdraw it when you need something. And that is not love. It's conditional care designed to serve them. Another critical element of consistency is how someone treats you in private versus in public. A man who is genuine will treat you with the same kindness, respect, and affection regardless of who is watching. If he loves you, his care doesn't need an audience. But if he is using you, he may put on a show when others are around, only to disregard you behind closed doors. He may praise you in public to appear devoted, but dismiss you in private when no one else can hold him accountable. That kind of inconsistency is a red flag that his love is not authentic, but performative. Pay attention also to how consistent he is in honoring his commitments. Anyone can say, "I'll change," "I'll do better," or "I'll take care of it." But change is proven through repetition, not rhetoric. If he repeatedly apologizes for the same mistakes without demonstrating real effort to grow, then he is not respecting you or the relationship. Real love doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means caring enough to not keep repeating the same ones. Consistency builds trust, and without trust, love cannot survive. When someone's behavior is erratic, when their presence is unpredictable, when their words and actions don't align, you are left anxious and unsure. You find yourself overanalyzing every interaction, trying to decode whether the good moments mean something, or if they are just temporary. That constant uncertainty wears you down, leaving you drained and insecure. But when love is real, consistency provides a sense of safety. You don't have to question whether you matter, because their actions reaffirm it over and over again. You don't have to wonder if they'll be there when you need them, because they've shown you time and again that they will. You don't have to fear abandonment, because they've built a pattern of presence that assures you of their commitment. The truth is that consistency doesn't require grand gestures. It's in the small, everyday choices that add up to reliability. It's in the text that says, "I'm thinking of you." It's in the follow-through on plans made. It's in remembering what matters to you and showing that it matters to them too. It's in the willingness to keep showing up, even when life is busy or hard. These little consistencies are what love is made of, and they are worth far more than big words spoken in fleeting moments. If you are in a relationship where you constantly have to cling to the hope that maybe this time will be different, maybe this time he'll mean what he says, maybe this time he'll follow through, then you must pause and ask yourself why consistency is missing. Because without consistency, there is no stability, and without stability, there is no true love. Inconsistency is not just an oversight. It is often a sign of a deeper truth, that his commitment is not real, that his affection is conditional, and that his presence is based on what he gains from you rather than what he gives to you. Love that is real doesn't leave you guessing, doesn't keep you anxious, and doesn't force you to cling to crumbs of attention. Love that is real is steady, reliable, and consistent, and you deserve nothing less than that. Don't mistake sporadic affection for genuine care. Don't let yourself be fooled by apologies that lack change or promises that lack follow-through. Pay attention to patterns, because patterns tell you the truth that words cannot. If his actions don't align with his words, then what you are experiencing is not love, it is use. And the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you can step into the kind of love that will honor you not with occasional gestures, but with consistent devotion. Mutuality is the foundation of any genuine connection, and without it, relationships collapse into something one-sided, draining, and unbalanced. True love is built on the idea that both people matter equally, that both voices deserve to be heard, and that both needs deserve to be met. When love is present, the relationship is not about one person always giving while the other simply receives. It is about reciprocity, about a flow of care, respect, effort, and energy that moves back and forth. Mutuality means that both partners show up for each other, both invest in the bond, and both feel nourished by it. But when someone is not in love and is instead using you, mutuality is absent. The relationship becomes transactional, tilted heavily in one direction, leaving you pouring yourself out while receiving very little in return. One of the most painful signs of being used is the feeling of being emptied. You find yourself constantly giving your time, your energy, your support, your affection, your forgiveness, while receiving only fragments in return. At first, you may not notice it because love naturally involves sacrifice and generosity. You tell yourself, this is what it means to care deeply. But over time, you realize the giving is not balanced. You are carrying the emotional weight of two people while he enjoys the benefits of your efforts without offering the same in return. That is not love, that is consumption. Mutuality also shows itself in the simple act of consideration. A man who loves you will consider your feelings before making decisions that affect you. He will take into account your opinions, your dreams, and your comfort. He will ask questions like, how do you feel about this? Or, does this work for you? Because he sees the relationship as a partnership where both people's voices matter. When someone is using you, consideration is absent. He makes choices that serve him, often without consulting you, and expects you to adapt. Your needs become an afterthought, your feelings become an inconvenience, and you begin to shrink your voice so as not to disrupt the dynamic. That silence becomes heavy because you know deep down that your role is not to be an equal, but to accommodate. Another dimension of mutuality is effort. A loving relationship thrives when both people are willing to put in the effort to nurture it. This effort may look different for each person, but the key is that it is present on both sides. One person may show effort through acts of service, another through emotional support, another through consistency and presence. What matters is that both are invested. When you are with someone who is using you, you will notice the absence of effort. He expects you to chase, to call, to fix, to forgive, to compromise, to show up, while he does only the bare minimum, and often only when it serves his interests. You become the glue holding everything together, while he contributes little beyond words or temporary gestures that keep you hanging on. That is not partnership, that is dependency disguised as intimacy. Mutuality is also about emotional generosity. Love requires vulnerability, a willingness to share your inner world and to make space for the other person's inner world as well. When someone loves you, they don't just take your empathy and your listening ear, they also offer their own. They check in on you, ask about your struggles, and stand beside you in your storms. When someone is using you, the flow is one way. They unload their problems on you, expect your support, and lean on your strength, but when you are hurting, they are absent. They may even dismiss your pain or redirect the focus back to themselves. That lack of emotional reciprocity is devastating because it leaves you feeling unseen and unimportant. You begin to wonder whether your role in the relationship is to be a caretaker rather than a partner. Another key aspect of mutuality is growth. A healthy relationship is not static, it evolves as both people evolve. Mutual love supports growth rather than stifling it. If you want to pursue new opportunities, a loving partner will encourage you. If you face struggles, they will grow alongside you. But when someone is using you, growth becomes a threat. They may resist your progress because it challenges their control. They may discourage your ambitions, mock your ideas, or guilt you into staying small. In such a dynamic, the relationship is not about shared growth, but about keeping you in a role that benefits them. And love cannot survive in a cage. Mutuality also means fairness in how responsibilities are shared. Whether it's emotional labor, financial support, or daily life responsibilities, both partners contribute in ways that align with their abilities and capacities. No one feels like they are carrying the entire weight while the other coasts. But when you are being used, you quickly notice the imbalance. You may find yourself always paying, always planning, always managing, always smoothing over conflict. Meanwhile, he enjoys the benefits of your effort without matching it. Over time, this imbalance creates resentment, exhaustion, and a deep sense of being unappreciated. One of the subtler aspects of mutuality is reciprocity in affection and intimacy. Love expresses itself not only in words, but in touch, gestures, and attentiveness. When mutuality is present, affection flows both ways. You feel desired, cared for, and valued. When mutuality is absent, intimacy may feel one-sided or conditional. He may reach for you when he wants comfort or pleasure, but withdraw when you seek closeness. This kind of imbalance leaves you questioning your desirability, your worth, and your place in his heart. But the truth is not about your worth. It's about his lack of mutual investment. The absence of mutuality is often hidden under the illusion of intensity. A man who is using you may overwhelm you with passion in bursts, creating moments that feel unforgettable. But these bursts do not translate into a steady flow of mutual care. It's like a feast followed by famine, keeping you hooked on the highs while enduring the lows. Real love does not operate this way. Real love is steady, balanced, and mutual, not a roller coaster designed to keep you clinging to the moments of intensity while ignoring the emptiness that follows. At the heart of mutuality is the recognition that you are both whole human beings deserving of love, respect, and care. In a mutual relationship, your joy is as important as his, your dreams are as valid as his, your needs are as significant as his. Anything less is not love, it is use. And use leaves you depleted, while love fills you. If you find yourself in a relationship where you are the only one pouring in the effort, carrying the load, sacrificing endlessly, and waiting for him to match your devotion, I urge you to recognize that this is not partnership. Love is not meant to drain you, it is meant to sustain you. Mutuality is not optional, it is essential. Without it, no matter how charming the words or how passionate the moments, the relationship is built on imbalance, and imbalance cannot sustain love. You deserve a love that is mutual, a love where giving and receiving are both present, where effort flows both ways, where growth is celebrated, and where you feel as valued as you value him. You deserve to be in a relationship where you are not used, but cherished, where your voice matters, and where your presence is honored. That is what true love looks like. Anything less is not love. It is simply someone using you for what you give. And you are worth far more than that. Vulnerability is the heart of authentic love. To love someone is to allow them to see you fully. Not just your strength, not just your polished moments, but also your fears, your scars, your insecurities, and your dreams. Real love grows in the soil of vulnerability because it requires trust, openness, and the courage to be known. When a man truly loves you, he does not simply take advantage of your vulnerability, he meets it with his own. He creates a safe space where you can both open up, where sharing is mutual, and where intimacy is built on honesty. But when a man is not in love and is using you, vulnerability becomes one-sided. You open up, you reveal yourself, you expose your heart. And instead of being met with the same courage, you find him hiding behind walls, withholding himself, and using your openness as a tool for his own gain. The beauty of love lies in its reciprocity. Vulnerability is not meant to be a performance for one person to watch while the other risks nothing. It is meant to be a dance of trust, where two people take turns leading and following, revealing and receiving. When love is present, vulnerability deepens connection. When use is present, vulnerability becomes exploitation. If you find yourself constantly pouring out your heart, while he offers only fragments or silence, it is a sign that he may not be invested in the same way. One of the clearest signs of authentic love is emotional safety. You know you are loved when you feel safe enough to cry without judgment, to admit mistakes without fear, to express needs without being shamed. A man who loves you will not weaponize your vulnerability. He will not take the secrets you have shared in trust and use them against you. He will hold them tenderly, protect them, and honor the fact that you trusted him enough to let him in. When someone is using you, your vulnerability becomes a tool for control. He may use your insecurities to manipulate you, remind you of your weaknesses to keep you dependent, or dismiss your feelings to maintain power. Instead of feeling safe, you begin to feel exposed, like every word you speak could later be twisted or ignored. Love and vulnerability walk hand in hand because both require courage. It takes courage to say, "This is who I am," and it takes courage to meet that with, "I see you, and I accept you." If only one person is taking that risk, the relationship cannot be balanced. You cannot build intimacy on one person's courage and another's refusal to engage. A relationship without shared vulnerability is a relationship without depth. It may look good on the surface. It may function as a companionship of convenience, but it will never reach the soul, deep connection that love is meant to be. Think of vulnerability as a bridge. Both people must step onto it for the connection to be real. If you are the only one stepping forward, you will eventually find yourself standing in the middle of that bridge alone, waiting for someone who has no intention of meeting you there. A man who is using you will let you take all the risks while he remains guarded. He will enjoy the benefits of your openness, your empathy, your support, your trust, without ever giving you access to his inner world. He may even keep you guessing, sharing just enough to keep you invested, but never enough to create true intimacy. That pattern is not love. It is withholding disguised as mystery. Mutual vulnerability also shows up in how someone responds to conflict. A man who loves you will risk being vulnerable enough to admit when he's wrong. He will apologize sincerely, Not just to smooth things over, but because he cares about the relationship. He will reveal his own fears or frustrations instead of covering them with anger or silence. But when someone is using you, conflict becomes a tool of avoidance or dominance. He may never admit fault. He may stonewall you into silence, or he may turn the focus back on you until you feel guilty for even bringing it up. That lack of vulnerability keeps him safe from accountability, but it leaves you carrying all the weight of emotional honesty. True love allows both people to be human. That means you are both allowed to stumble, to be imperfect, to ask for help, and to lean on each other. Vulnerability creates a balance where neither person feels like they have to perform perfection to be worthy of love. When someone is using you, perfection becomes expected of you, not of them. You may feel like you can't express disappointment without being labeled dramatic, or you can't admit fear without being mocked, or you can't ask for reassurance without being seen as needy. That kind of dynamic silences your vulnerability and leaves you feeling disconnected, even as you give more and more of yourself. Another way to see the role of vulnerability is in shared dreams and hopes. When love is real, both partners allow themselves to dream aloud together, to imagine futures, to speak desires, to share visions of what could be. It is vulnerable to say, "This is what I long for," because it opens the possibility of rejection. A loving partner meets that dream with curiosity, with encouragement, and with their own vision. But when a man is using you, he will either avoid those conversations entirely or string you along with vague promises he has no intention of fulfilling. Your openness about the future may be met with silence, dismissal, or empty assurances. That withholding is not love. It is a refusal to commit. It is also important to remember that vulnerability is not weakness. In fact, it is one of the greatest strengths a person can offer in a relationship. To be vulnerable is to risk, and risk requires courage. If you are the only one taking that risk, then you are giving strength while he takes advantage of it. Real love is mutual bravery. It is two people daring to show up as they are, with all their imperfections, and choosing each other anyway. Anything less is not love. It is convenience, safety, or self-interest masquerading as devotion. So ask yourself when you open your heart, does he open his too, or does he retreat? When you share your fears, does he meet you with compassion or with dismissal? When you dream aloud, does he add his own dreams to the mix or change the subject? When you are vulnerable, do you feel closer to him or more alone? The answers to these questions reveal whether the relationship is built on love or on use. Because love cannot thrive without vulnerability, and vulnerability cannot thrive without reciprocity. If he is unwilling to risk being seen, if he hides behind walls while you strip yourself bare, then what you are experiencing is not intimacy, but exposure. You are not building a connection. You are providing an audience for someone unwilling to step into the spotlight of truth. That is not the relationship you deserve. You deserve to be with someone who meets your vulnerability with his own. Someone who doesn't just listen but shares. Someone who doesn't just receive but offers. Someone who doesn't just admire your courage, but lives courageously alongside you. Because that is what true love looks like, two souls standing together, both unguarded, both honest, both willing to risk being known. That is the only soil in which real intimacy can grow, and without it, what you have may look like love from the outside, but will always feel hollow on the inside. One of the most dangerous lies you can believe in a relationship is that your worth depends on someone else's attention. When you find yourself with a man who is not truly in love with you, but using you, one of the clearest signs is that you begin to feel as though you must constantly earn his affection, as if love is a prize to be won rather than a gift to be received. Real love never puts you in competition with yourself. never makes you question your value, and never leaves you feeling like you are one mistake away from losing everything. True love honors you as you are, but when someone is using you, his attention becomes conditional, and you start to measure your worth by how much of it he decides to give. The tragedy of this dynamic is that it is subtle at first. You may begin with confidence, knowing your own value, but over time, small signals erode that certainty. He might give you affection one day and withdraw it the next. He might make you feel beautiful and desired in one moment and invisible the next. He might praise you when you do something that benefits him, but criticize or ignore you when you stand up for yourself. Without realizing it, you start to adjust your behavior in order to regain his attention. You begin to think, if I just do more, give more, change more, maybe then he will stay consistent. That cycle is not love. It is control through conditional care. When a man truly loves you, you don't feel like you are auditioning for his approval. His love is not a reaction to what you do for him. It is a recognition of who you are. He doesn't withdraw affection as punishment, nor does he make you feel like his attention is something you must compete for. Instead, his presence reassures you that your value is not up for negotiation. But when you are being used, his attention is a currency he spends strategically. He may lavish it on you when he wants something, when he fears losing control, or when he needs to keep you close, but then he withholds it when you need reassurance or when you set boundaries. This push and pull keeps you unsteady, and in that unsteadiness, you may begin to doubt yourself. The human heart longs for love that is steady and unconditional. To be loved for who you are, not for what you provide, is one of the deepest needs we carry. When that need is manipulated, it creates deep wounds. If you are in a relationship where you constantly feel you must earn love, the message you internalize is that you are not enough. And yet, the truth is the exact opposite. You are more than enough, but you are with someone who benefits from keeping you in doubt. Because as long as you believe you must work to deserve his affection, he will always have power over you. The most heartbreaking part of this dynamic is that it can make you forget your own worth. You may have entered the relationship knowing your value, feeling strong, confident, and full of life, but little by little, his inconsistency chips away at that confidence. Instead of remembering the truth about who you are, you begin to measure yourself by his moods, his reactions, his silences. You start to think your beauty is only real if he affirms it, your worth only valid if he acknowledges it, your importance only true if he shows up. That is the poison of being used. It convinces you that your reflection is found in someone else's eyes. But real love reminds you of your worth. Real love affirms what you already know deep down, that you are valuable, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. A man who loves you will never make you feel like you are on trial, constantly proving your place in his life. Instead, his love will give you space to breathe, to grow, to rest in the certainty that you are cherished without conditions. It is vital to understand that attention is not the same as love. Someone can give you attention without truly valuing you. Attention can be fleeting, shallow, self-serving. Love, on the other hand, is consistent, deep, and selfless. If his attention feels like a spotlight that turns on and off at his convenience, then you are not experiencing love. You are experiencing manipulation. Love does not disappear when you are imperfect, when you disagree, or when you set boundaries. If it does, then it was never love, it was use. Another way this dynamic shows up is through comparison. A man who is using you may intentionally or unintentionally make you feel like you are competing with others for his affection. He may flirt openly, speak about other women, or make you feel insecure about your place in his life. This behavior is designed to keep you striving, to keep you proving your value, to keep you feeling like you must work harder to keep his focus. But genuine love does not put you in competition. Genuine love chooses you fully and without hesitation, and never makes you question whether you are enough. You must remember that your worth is not tied to someone else's recognition of it. You do not become valuable when he notices you, and you do not lose value when he ignores you. Your worth is intrinsic, unchanging, and eternal. The danger of being in a relationship where his attention defines your worth is that you lose sight of this truth. You begin to shape yourself around what he wants, what pleases him, what keeps his affection intact. But in doing so, you sacrifice your authenticity, your voice, and your own identity. That is the ultimate cost of being used. You lose pieces of yourself in order to hold on to someone who was never holding you fully in the first place. Real love liberates. It does not enslave. Real love empowers you to be more of yourself, not less. Real love celebrates your individuality, your quirks, your strength, and your flaws, instead of making you feel like you must perfect yourself to be worthy. If you are in a relationship where you constantly feel like you must earn your place, then what you are experiencing is not love. It is dependency created by manipulation, and you were never meant to live in that cycle. The truth is that love is not something you chase. It is something you share. If he is not meeting you with the same energy, if his attention feels conditional, if his affection disappears when you assert yourself, then you must recognize that he is not in love. He is using you. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the more you will forget the truth of your own worth. But the moment you reclaim it, the moment you realize that you do not need to earn love, that you do not need to compete for it, that you do not need to sacrifice yourself for crumbs of affection, you will walk into the kind of love that is steady, mutual, and unconditional. You are not defined by his attention. You are not defined by his moods, his choices, or his inconsistency. You are defined by the truth that you are inherently valuable, deeply worthy, and fully enough. And when you hold on to that truth, you will never settle for being used, because you will know that real love honors you as you are. Anything less is not love. It is exploitation disguised as romance. You deserve better. And the first step toward receiving it is to stop measuring your worth by the attention of someone who does not truly love you.